To be hero begins by showing a handsome man who is a very popular toilet designer and has received several prestigious awards. The man is a father of a teenage girl named Futaba Hanaya, nicknamed Min-chan, who hates him very much because she thinks that her father is a very perverted person and likes to seduce many young women. Futaba was very angry with her father because she thought that her mother left them because her father always had an affair. In the apartment where they live, there is an old man named Yamada who often acts strange and has perverted behavior like Futaba's father. That night when Futaba's father, or who we will refer to as Yashu, was defecating, he suddenly moved to a very strange place. At that place, he met a man who claimed to be the chairman of the Space Hero Alliance Committee. The committee said that Yashu had been chosen to be a hero and had been gifted with superpowers to fight extraterrestrial villains. He also mentioned that there will be an evil monster from outer space that will attack the Earth tomorrow, so Yashu must be able to defeat the monster with his super strength. Shortly after, Yashu returned to Earth and found that his body and his face had completely turned into a very ugly fat man. The incident clearly made him feel very shocked and panicked, because his appearance suddenly changed after he defecated. On the other hand, a group of aliens from the planet Tenerisan led by a prince named Moe Moe intend to rule over planet Earth and annihilate mankind. Apparently, the army of villains referred to by the Hero Alliance Committee is the army of Prince Moe Moe. Meanwhile, Yashu was sending Futaba to sleep in her room while singing a sleep song for her. But Futaba, who was awakened by the noise made by Yashu, suddenly hit him in the face, thinking that Yashu was an ugly intruder who wanted to do perverted things to her. Yashu immediately explained what had happened to him and tried to convince Futaba that he was her father who had cared for her for 22 years. However, because Yashu's voice and appearance were very different, Futaba did not believe him and immediately kicked him out. As a result, he had to sleep outside the apartment all night because he had nowhere else to stay. The next day, an iron shrimp man monster approached Yashu and intended to attack him. But before the shrimp monster could attack Yashu with his laser power, the shrimp monster had already died from the laser hitting his own body. It turned out that the shrimp monster was a messenger sent by Prince Moe Moe, and the news of the shrimp monster's defeat clearly annoyed him. Prince Moe Moe then ordered one of his strongest troops, namely a wild monster named Ouroboros, to come to Earth and attack Yashu. That day, Yashu decides to meet Yamada and ask him for help so that he is allowed to stay at his apartment for a while. Even though Yamada didn't recognize Yashu, he was kind enough to help Yashu and invited him to stay at his apartment. Even he also gave lunch to Yashu in the form of a giant chicken egg that was very large, and it actually made Yashu feel shocked and scared. After that, Futaba tried to call Yashu, who still hadn't been back home in the past few days, because she was afraid that something bad had happened to him. But all of Yashu's words on the phone miraculously turned into lewd and inappropriate words. On the other hand, Ouroboros had arrived at the apartment where Yashu was, but because he was in the wrong room, he instead met a cute little girl who made him feel awkward. As a result, Ouroboros stabbed his own head and he died instantly. The news of Ouroboros' death made Prince Moe Moe feel very upset, so he immediately sent the legendary chicken monster to defeat Yashu. At the same time, Yashu sneaks into his apartment as Futaba goes out to go to school. In his toilet, Yashu tried his best to defecate so he could teleport back like before and change his appearance. Meanwhile, the legendary chicken monster has arrived at his apartment to look for Yashu's whereabouts, but the chicken monster is frightened after seeing a giant chicken egg on the dining table. After the chicken monster left, he coincidentally met Yashu, who had just come out of his apartment. The chicken monster then attacked him with the power of sound, but Yashu could easily defeat the chicken monster with one move. Prince Moe Moe had received news of the death of the chicken monster he sent earlier, but he was not disappointed at all because he had discovered Yashu's biggest weakness, which was Futaba. Prince Moe Moe was sure that by hurting Futaba, he could defeat Yashu more easily. One of Prince Moe Moe's advisors then introduces a human robot that can be used to trap Futaba and kidnap her. However, it turns out that the human robot has an emoji-shaped head which immediately makes her feel sick until she kicks the emoji robot very hard. In the evening, Futaba begins to feel lonely because her father still hasn't returned, and she is afraid that her father will also leave her like her mother did before. Yashu, who heard Futaba's cry from behind the door, felt very sad because he couldn't do anything to erase her sadness at that time. The next day, Yashu was suddenly attacked by Moe Moe from behind until his body was injured and bleeding. But strangely, the attack did not make him feel any pain at all, and even all the wounds on his body could recover quickly. Prince Moe Moe then attacked Yashu with repeated hand thrusts, but all these attacks meant nothing to him. At the same time, Futaba suddenly appears and immediately attacks Yashu because she still thinks he is a pervert who is always stalking her. Unexpectedly, Prince Moe Moe was fascinated by Futaba's beauty and courage, and it made him fall in love with her. Therefore, Prince Moe abandoned his intention to rule the planet Earth and decided to get love from Futaba. The next day, Moe decided to sell his plane in order to get money to rent one of the rooms in Yamada's apartment. Yashu was very annoyed and disturbed by the presence of him in that place, and insisted on asking Yamada to expel Moe. In the midst of the quarrel, Futaba came to Yamada's apartment and asked Yamada to fix the bathtub faucet that was broken. Hearing this, Yashu and Prince Moe offered to help her repair the faucet. After that, they tried to fix the leaky faucet using adhesive tape. While repairing the faucet, Yashu suddenly felt sad because he had never able to repair the damage in their house. After the repairs were done, Futaba checked the faucet in the bathtub and found that Yashu had only plugged the leak with duct tape, the same way her father used to do. The next day, Prince Moe was visited by an alien girl who was his fiancée. Hearing this, Yashu was angry with Prince Moe because previously, Prince Moe admitted that he really liked Futaba, but it turned out that he already had a fiancée. At the same time, Futaba suddenly appeared, and the alien girl immediately attacked Futaba with her tail. Fortunately, Yashu and Prince Moe had blocked the tail so that she would not be hurt. Prince Moe then explained that he was actually ordered by his father to marry the alien girl, but he refused the request because he did not love her, so he decided to leave his kingdom and travel to another planet. When Prince Moe was carrying the alien girl into Yamada's apartment, the girl's tail was suddenly cut off, causing her energy to leak. Moe's brother, who had just arrived there, saw his brother doing a shameful thing to a girl, so he immediately took her away. And after that, the girl's body exploded in the sky with Moe's older brother. Not long after, Yashu saw a man who was very similar to him, and it clearly made him feel confused about who the man really was. The fake Yashu claimed to be Futaba's father, and Futaba, who thought that the man was her father, immediately welcomed him into the apartment. Prince Moe advises Yashu to find information about the fake Yashu with the help of the tail of the alien girl, because the tail, which is the main body of the alien girl, has a function to gather a lot of information. They also decided to connect the tail to Yamada's body so that she can be reactivated again. After the tail was attached to Yamada's body, he suddenly turned into a sexy human who had the ability to gather information. After being investigated, it turns out that the fake Yashu disguised as Futaba's father is Prince Moe, who is the older brother of Prince Moe. Prince Moe has been ordered by their father to find Prince Moe, because he has deviated from his first mission, which is to conquer planet Earth. For your information, the prince who was exploded was named Prince Moe, for sure that their father is an alien of culture. On the other hand, Futaba felt very happy after seeing the apartment she lived in turn into a more beautiful and luxurious apartment. But after realizing that all of her old belongings had been removed, she became disappointed and annoyed. In the evening, Futaba and fake Yashu invite Yamada and Yashu to have dinner together with various very delicious dishes. At night, Yashu recalled the memo from the past, when his family was still intact and happy. He felt very sad because he had never given perfect happiness to Futaba, so he intended to leave that place immediately. While Yashu and Prince Moe are in the toilet, the fake Yashu secretly turns their drink into a drink of despair using his magic power. The drink can make anyone who consumes it so desperate that they want to end their life. But ridiculously, the fake Yashu drank the drink first. On the other hand, Futaba was surprised because her father had thrown away many things that held many precious memories in the past. When she returned to the apartment, she found that everyone there had been very drunk and was acting strangely. In a semi-conscious state, the fake Yashu suddenly showed his true form as Prince Moe, and the real Yashu instead fed Futaba the same way her father used to do in the past. Futaba felt very confused because everyone in the place was exactly the same as the characters in the picture book that she and her father had made when they were little. For a moment, we are shown about the past experienced by Futaba. Her father divorced her mother when she was still very small, and she always blamed his father for thinking that it was her father who had made her mother leave her. Because of this, Futaba grows up to be a cold girl and hates her father. However, Yashu actually really loves Futaba and is willing to do anything for her happiness. Not long after that, the king of the planet Tennyson came and attacked Futaba. She also tried to fight back with all the martial skills she had, but all these attacks did not weaken him at all, and Futaba was thrown to the ground until she was unconscious. After that, the king, disappointed with his son's action, also attacked Prince Moe and Prince Moe until they both fell down. Not long after that, Yashu woke up and immediately intended to beat the king after seeing that his residence had been destroyed. But his attacks didn't work at all on the king, and Yashu became doubtful of himself and doubted the superpowers he had so far. When Yashu is almost killed by the king, Futaba gets up to encourage Yashu and the others to unite to defeat the king. However, due to the fight, Yamada died after being annihilated by the king, and it immediately made Yashu even more desperate. While crying, Futaba tries to convince Yashu that he is a superhero who can save the world. Futaba feels that he is the superhero she created with her father in the picture book entitled To Be Hero. Hearing that, the king became very annoyed and immediately killed Futaba in front of Yashu. This clearly made Yashu feel very angry, and he immediately attacked the king with full strength. Yashu realizes that the king is actually the bad side of him, because in the picture book To Be Hero, Futaba once drew the bad side and the good side of her father, and she hopes that one day her father can fight the bad side that is inside his heart. After a very long and fierce battle, Yashu was finally able to annihilate the king completely. The scene then changes to the moment where Futaba is escorting his father to the treatment room at the hospital. As it turned out, Futaba's father had a stroke a few weeks ago, which resulted in him falling into a coma since then, and all that Yashu had experienced so far was a dream or a subconscious event that he experienced. Yamada then explained to Futaba that the pain experienced by her father at this time was due to fatigue and working too hard. Since the divorce, Futaba's father has always worked hard to make her happy and give her a better life. Everything Futaba ever thought about her father being perverted and having an affair was just a misunderstanding, because the only thing that mattered to Futaba's father was Futaba's own happiness. Since the first day after Futaba's father was declared in a coma, the doctor advised Futaba to always communicate with her father so that his brain still responded. Futaba also decided to bring a picture book that they had made together when she was a child, and told the story to her father. Every time she read it, she couldn't help but cry, and kept hoping that her father would come back to his senses soon. Fortunately, this anime has a happy end. The anime closes with a scene where Futaba has rejoined her father in their apartment. The moral of this anime is, if you have dreams or hopes of being able to teleport to other planets, make sure you defecate as earnestly as Yashu. However, despite the comedy it has, this anime actually teaches us deeply about parents who will always love us. No matter how hard their circumstances, they keep struggling to keep us happy. So, don't let their love in vain. Tell them that you love them back, because we usually only realize it after they are gone.